Glad to have you stay with us. It is still in the game on News Central TV. And yes, it was game on yesterday in the world of rugby, talking about the quarterfinals between the Springboks, South Africa, taking on the host nation, France. At some point, it felt like France were going to take that win against South Africa.
Knew how tough it was going to be with the French team at home. And honestly, I just want to say well done to them for what they've achieved and how hard they worked. And also to the supporters, the people of France. It's been an amazing tournament, and they can be proud of this team. You know, to Antoine and the boys have not had luck in the game, but they can be proud of what they've done. We really wanted it. We knew how tough it's going to be, and I must give credit to the guys that came off the bench. They came and made a huge difference. And the guys that didn't play as well, the pitches they showed us to prepare us to be ready for this game. And most importantly, the people back at home. Honestly, the support that we've.
Game.
I think all credit to the whole team. It's the whole team effort. We knew it wasn't going to be easy playing the host team in the background, sold out crowd, singing the national anthem the whole time. I think we played well for it. Credit to Coach Jock about managing it around the week. And credit to the team. It's not a one-man effort. Everyone knew it wasn't going to be easy. And we still got 2 more games to go. This is still nothing. We knew it wasn't going to be easy. But credit to the officials. The team managed the crowd very well. They managed the game very well. The refs didn't allow the crowd to influence them. And it was a
Great win for South Africa right there, defeating France 29-28 in the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup, and they are on to the semi-finals where they will get to take on Egypt. Now, joining me to talk about this great feat for South Africa is Ntiense Williams. They call him Mr. Rugby. Good to have you with us, Mr. Rugby.
Good morning. It's nice to be with you this morning.
Yes, of course, and a great day to be an African and looking at what South Africa achieved at the Rugby World Cup. What did you make of that victory?
Well, I think it's a big boost for African rugby. South Africa is on the first tier of rugby in the world, alongside with the likes of New Zealand, England, Australia, France, Ireland. And they are more or less our big brother in terms of rugby on the world stage. They've actually put smiles on the faces of Africans at this time, and being able to beat the host at home in front of that ferocious crowd was, I think, the icing on the cake for us. And it was a nail-biting quarterfinals, which was more or less like a finals, with just 1 point apart. South Africa, dug deep to make sure that experience played out here. Quite unfortunate for France, because we were very, very impressed with the hosting by France, and the fact that France is actually, they've gotten on to the finals about 3 times now. Unfortunately, they've not been able to win the World Cup, and we were actually rooting for them emotionally to host and win. Unfortunately, that is not to be right now, because they've fallen through. Pairings that have come out for the semifinals, Argentina upset the stage, and you had New Zealand beating Ireland, which is the top seed presently in the World Cup, in the world seeding, and also you have England displacing Fiji, who really performed very well. They were like in the second tier of world rugby, and they've gotten onto the quarterfinals, which is a big boost for them. So for the semifinals, you're going to be having South Africa in locking horns against England, and New Zealand squaring up against Argentina. For me, I think the semifinals will be a bit much entertaining and easier game than this quarterfinal matches. We're looking forward to New Zealand and South Africa going up to the finals, and England and Argentina squaring up for the 3rd place playoff.
Yeah, talking about South Africa and New Zealand, a lot of fans have actually predicted that they will be the 2 to make it to the finals. And when it comes to New Zealand, talking about the All Blacks now, we know them for their popular haka before they start the game. Yeah. South Africa also have theirs And I'm wondering, are we going to see the best of hackers that day when it comes to the finals, if both of them get to make it to the finals? But before South Africa took on France during one of their trainings, one of the players said they are training with noise, knowing that they're expecting massive crowd support for France. And it did pay off. It paid off at the end of the day because they ignored the noise from the crowds and they sustained their own strength until the end of the game. Yeah. So it just shows that South Africa have proven again that they are worthy champions of the Rugby World Cup and they're looking to defend that title again.
Yeah, South Africa being the defending champions would like to make two histories in this World Cup. If, for instance, they get to win this World Cup, they would have been, making a history of, or getting to the same history which New Zealand actually did by, being a back-to-back champions. So if they get to win this World Cup, they will also become a back-to-back champion.
Yeah.
And then the next history which they would probably be breaking would be that they will be the fourth. They'll be winning the World Cup for the fourth time. Now, if it's New Zealand that wins, then it will be that New Zealand will be winning it for the fourth time. And it's just between South Africa and New Zealand to break that history.
All right. And still looking at that one now between South Africa and Rugby, a lot of fans also said the refereeing was a bit biased in that game. But of course, the Africans are very, very proud that South Africa won. And looking ahead to the game between South Africa and Egypt, the English fans are already giving up hope that playing against either of South Africa or France, they will crash out of the tournament. Do you believe this?
You can't close your eyes in a rugby match. England are a good side. But unfortunately for me, I have not seen them rising up to the occasion. They just won the last game against Fiji. Now, if they played against the likes of Ireland or even Argentina, they'll probably, get a good run for their money more than what Fiji did. I have not seen them, come into the party yet. Probably they have not started picking. But when are they going to pick? When you are in the knockout stages like this, you've got to just bring your A game to the table. And like South Africa and New Zealand did, they were not scared, with whatever was thrown at them. Ireland played beautifully well, and France, they were smaller in pack, but they were very, very fast. And they did everything possible to make history. So between South Africa and England, to be honest with you, I think South Africa still has more to offer to this World Cup than what they've actually shown against France. And for every game which they come with something new. New Zealand will be bringing to you a different haka in the semi-finals, and probably another different one in the finals as well. So entertainment galore in this Rugby World Cup, and I think it's good business for the Rugby World Cup Limited when you're having New Zealand versus South Africa in the World Cup.
Yeah, so before we talk about Nigeria Rugby now, let's still stick with the Rugby World Cup. Now, two things. About the rules of the game, one of my colleagues was asking, why can't the opponent touch the ball when an opposing player has the ball with him?
First and foremost, rugby, you need to have possession of the ball. The ball is the only thing that we play. We don't play the man. So the ball is where everybody, 15 people on either side are chasing. And the ball determines where the offside is.
And sometime last week, I read up that the players will begin to wear smart tooth guards to protect themselves from injuries and all of that. I just hope that all of these get to work in favor of the players and, of course, the organization of the sports as a whole. But let's talk about money now.
Everybody's expected to wear the tooth guard.
Yeah.
It's actually a prerequisite. And then you have the scrum caps for those who are in the forwards, who are constantly engaging in the scrums.
Okay.
So the precautions, precautionary measures and safety measures are being implemented day in, day out, and the referees, the match officials are constantly guiding against any of the infringements in that direction, because rugby is much, much safer now than it had ever been before.
All right, sir. But I know I'm not going to go into that sport anytime soon. Let's talk about...
Your jersey is waiting for you in the locker room.
Okay. Let's talk about Nigeria now. Where does Nigeria rank when it comes to rugby in Africa? Because I know the likes of Namibia and there's also South Africa who look like the top-ranked rugby side in Africa. Where does Nigeria rank when it comes to playing rugby?
Well, first, I would say let's break it into two.
Okay.
You have two Rugby World Cups, the 15th Rugby World Cup, which is what you're going through right now, and then you have the 7th Rugby World Cup, which will be coming up, later on as well. And these are every 4 years. Now, for the 15th Rugby, Nigeria is still, behind. Because this is a very, very technical side of the game. We need more bigger bodies, more games, more officiating. We don't really have that on the ground. And when you talk in terms of Africa, we are in the second level in terms of the playing. But when you talk in terms of the sevens rugby, for me, that's the more exciting rugby, to which I believe Nigeria would actually climb into the top rankings pretty soon if we do the right things. Presently, we went for the Olympic qualifiers in Zimbabwe, and out of 12 countries, we came 8th. Now, for me, we've broken into the top 10 in Africa, and that for me is a very good record. That simply means for every event that needs to take place, we will be invited for the qualifying tournament. For the 15 side, we still have some work to do for us to get onto that level. Namibia was the sole representative of Africa that in the qualifying stages of the World Cup within Africa. South Africa is not on our level. And ever since South Africa joined or returned to the Rugby World Cup in 1995, they hosted, they had an automatic qualification and they won. So the next World Cup, they were there. And consistently, since then till this 10th Rugby World Cup, they've always, gotten either the win, they come second, third, or they've gotten into the quarterfinal stages to which they get automatic qualifications. Namibia has not done too well at this World Cup. They are the best that we have in terms of 15 aside. Whereas in the 7 aside, you have the likes of Kenya, South Africa, Uganda. And there we can actually break in, into top 5 if we get our acts together.
All right.
We need lots of games. Unfortunately, we don't have games in Nigeria. In the last 3 years, unfortunately, we've not really been playing union rugby. Just in July, we had the first female sevens tournament, which was hosted in Delta State, and Edo, won, beating everybody and not conceding a point, making a history as well in terms of sporting activity. For me, we need to concentrate more in the sevens rugby and also give the girl child more opportunity. I personally believe that our female rugby will actually bring quick laurels in rugby for Nigeria, than the men. Nothing to be biased about, but I think there is a faster progress that we can actually get from the females rugby.
All right, so we'll look forward to the growth of the sports in the country, and hopefully Nigeria can rank amongst the top 5 very soon, both in the 7s and also in the 15s. Thank you very much for joining us today, Ntiense Williams.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be with you this morning.